Thanks to Kathleen Whalen of Whalen Financial for sponsoring Tom's Take. She and her firm are in a new location at 128 Buckland Street in LaSalle. So stop in and say hello and see what her team can put together for you. A school resource officer is a carefully selected, specially trained, and properly equipped law enforcement officer with sworn authority. He or she is trained in school-based law enforcement and crisis response and assigned by a law enforcement agency to work collaboratively with one or more schools using community-oriented policing concepts. School resource officers wear three hats, really known as the triad. They act as mentors, informal educators, and a friendly face of law enforcement in the hallways. Schools and communities recognize the valuable work of their school resource officers during National School Resource Officer Appreciation Day on February 15th of every year. Now, this year, the 15th is on a Saturday, so while they can't recognize their SROs on the day itself, schools are encouraged to recognize their officers somewhere around the date. I stopped by the Peru Police Department and talked with two school resource officers and a canine ambassador of sorts. Brian Zebron is a police officer known to the kids as Officer Zebby in Peru. LaSalle County Deputy Noah Hancock is one of two SROs at the county level who move among the more rural schools in the county every day. Today you're going to meet both of them and get a better idea of the important work that school resource officers are doing. For this interview, we even had a super celebrity on hand. Comfort dog Haven is handled by Sergeant Zebron. She's a giant ball of fluff, as you'll see. Here it is. Well, Haven, you got yourself a bone, huh? Hi, sweet girl.
I'm a certified police officer with the city of Peru, but I took an assignment. Basically, I'm stationed at the school. I work at the ROE 35 Academy, which is known as a safe school, and then I also work at the SOAR. They're actually in the same building, which formerly known as Circuit Breaker, but same building but two schools with some different agendas for each school. But basically it's a behavioral school where we have a good amount of kids there. It's well over 100 kids anyway, and a lot of them are with some kind of type of special need in one way or another.
So I'm one of the LaSalle County resource officers. There's two of us. We're getting a third one. He's in training right now. So we are kind of different than Officer Zebron here and other school resource officers who usually really only have one school they take care of. We have 13 that we take care of. We're all throughout the entire county. Jessica Tonga is our other school resource officer. Me and her put a lot of miles on our vehicles every day to see these kids in the schools.
How many schools do you visit, for instance, a day typically?
I try to get 4 to 5 schools a day.
The benefit of having one officer at one school is you get to know those kids a lot better. Noah knows his kids very well and he goes all the different schools. When you're at that school every day with the kids, you get to know the kids a lot better. If a kid has a problem or wants to talk about something, or if he just wants to talk about what happened over the weekend and hang out, and they come into my office, we shoot the bull, we play some games, we roll dice, we do some things, just some fun stuff. The big thing for me, I like to keep it fun. So for me, a lot of times, as soon as the kids come in the door, I have Haven. That's one of the things, the kids totally love, just to see Haven. In fact, I've had a bunch of kids that have told the principal, we have a truancy program as well, where the kids, don't make it to school or weren't making it to school, so they're in our truancy program. The principal told me recently we have a bunch of those kids that have said, well, I'm only here to see Haven. And of course my response is, good, because you're here. Get them in the building, and that's a big step from just taking the day off of school and not showing up. My big thing is, let's have fun at school, and then you're going to be there and you're going to learn. Obviously there's a lot of work to do, at school, but if you can get there and have fun, that's a big start.
Noah, you were on a different track before you became a law enforcement officer.
I was. Before I got in this, I was a finance major. Kind of saw myself as maybe being a police officer, didn't really know. Kind of went the safe route with finance. I did a couple accounting classes, was not enjoying it. I couldn't imagine being in a office setting.
For the next 40 years?
For the next 40 years. And I grew up next to a next door neighbor, Evan Duttlinger. He is the now deputy chief over in Oglesby. He was at IVCC one day and asked if I wanted to do a ride along because I was complaining to him about my classes. And when he did that, I went along that next night, and I had an absolute blast. The next week, I went to my academic advisor and I said, hey, I am done with finance. I want to switch to criminal justice. And I did. I graduated from IVCC, transferred over to Western, graduated. I did get a minor in finance though. I very much enjoyed it. I interned with state police, and then when I was done with that, I went to LP for a year. I was a permanent sub there, enjoyed that a lot. And then I was able to get hired on with the sheriff's office in LaSalle County. I did that, and the rest is history. I have a lot of fun with what I do with the schools. Like we said, I go to 13 of them, so I can kind of, Jessica and I, we kind of pick and choose who we go to see that day. I personally like hanging out with the kindergartner classes. You're having a bad day or anything like that, those little guys and girls, they will make you feel like a superhero every single day. They love you. They call me sheriff because I got sheriff on my back. They don't really know my name, and I don't expect them to.
Oh, that's
at
great.
that age. But their eyes light up. They're whispering and talking to everybody when they see you. Going to the classrooms with them, they just run up and they hug your leg because they know why we're there. They feel very safe, very protected, and that's important to all of us. That's the reaction we want our kids to have with us in our schools.
Some of these kids, it's unfortunate, but their first impression of a police officer is something really bad happened, and now here's the police. And sometimes, unfortunately, we have to, arrest mom or dad or do something, where we have to for, safety of everybody. But with this, that's why I love it. Like, the officers are in the schools, they see us as, giving us high fives and hanging out and realizing that, we're no different than anybody else. It's a job we have to do, but we're making some good relationships with these kids.
School resource officers, there were some, but I think it really blew up after Columbine. I got hired in December of 2022, so I'm a baby when it's considered this stuff.
You're just a pup.
That's what I am called at the office. I'm one of the young ones. I have a lot of fun.
I would imagine you relate well with younger people then.
I think that's a big part of why I was selected by the Sheriff Dis to be an SRO, was due to my age and being able to relate to these younger kids, talk about video games, talk about sports, things like that these kids, you can really get through to a kid through video games. It's crazy. A lot of adults don't see it. We want kids to feel comfortable seeing us in schools, and if they see something wrong or hear something, we want them to come tell us about it so we can make sure that whatever they're concerned about, we can take care of that for these kids.
Actually, there's been several times where we've had, a threat to the school, and we take care of it. Luckily that the student brought it up to us, and then we went through our routes to get everything done. I love my career that I had in law enforcement. I was lucky enough to work interstate drug interdiction, K-9 for almost 20 years. Well, still now working K-9, just in a different capacity. I got to work the undercover operations. I got to do a lot of stuff in law enforcement that other people don't get to do in life. And I just really feel like, honestly, well, it's my time to give back. And that's why I'm kind of passionate now, or actually very passionate about helping these kids.
When I sign on in the mornings, I got 12, I will look through our CAD to see if we've had any run-ins with any of our juveniles, or if we've had kids that, mom called 911 on dad for a domestic and dad got arrested. We'll go to that school first thing in the morning, talk to the school social worker, counselor, guidance counselor, a lot of them are different, or principal, say, hey, this is what happened with so-and-so. Can you check in with them when they come into school? Can you make sure they're coming in and everything like that? And they're important. And also tell the teachers, hey, if they come in this morning and they're tired and they're falling asleep and don't really pay attention, this is why. They're not doing it to disrespect you. They're doing it because, they were up all night because daddy was beating up mommy.
To have the dog and to have that resource and everything like we do here in Peru, it's a big deal. We do incentive programs and stuff to where they can do something with the dog. A lot of these kids are working harder just so they can go, do something with the dog and have fun.
Back in October, right before Halloween, I was involved in a very serious car accident while I was at work. And when I walked in, they handed all the kids in the school handed me a bunch of cards, homemade, get well cards, get well soon. They made a get better soon video for me. One of the superintendent texted me it. That means a lot. And when I showed up and we went to each classroom, their eyes lit up when they saw me. It means a lot. That's what gets me up and gets me going in the morning, is that impact that you make just by spending time with them is the biggest part.
Thanks to a couple of great guys and a great dog for giving up their valuable time on a weekday to talk to us. Don't forget to thank your school resource officer this week or next. They sure deserve it. Kathleen Wayland has sponsored this installment of Tom's Take, as she has always, and I want to express my appreciation to her for her support. And thank you for sharing your thoughts, ideas, comments about Tom's Take. I welcome all of it. And if you have a person or a place or an event you think should be part of this weekend reset, just let me know. I love talking to you. Give me a call at the radio station at 223-3100. And I'll talk to you in the morning.